Welcome to my website, Wonderings. Wonderings as in, I wonder if that would be a good idea. I wonder if that would work for me. Early in my career as a psychiatrist, I was the staff psychiatrist at a state hospital. It involved working with a team of professionals, social workers, rec therapists, mental health therapists, psychologists, all working with people that had been civilly committed to the state hospital due to being dangerous in one way or another. Dangerous to themselves most often, sometimes dangerous to others. We had about 6 months to treat them to a point of wellness so that they were no longer going to be of danger to anyone. It was a charged atmosphere in which the team members brought a variety of opinions as to whether or not this person was again safe to be let out of the hospital. One of the steps that we would utilize as a way of determining their readiness would be passes with family members, passes with staff members to the local mall or some other event, and being able to see what would happen when they were outside the confines of the state hospital was very helpful and risky. Would they try to escape? Would something bad happen when they were on pass? I noticed that when my mentor, Ron, would lead a meeting, that he was able to elicit a lot more opinions from all the different staff members. The discussions would be much more robust, more fun. I set about trying to figure out how Ron was managing this. Was it his force of personality? I was never going to be able to mimic Ron's personality. Or was it some sort of trick? Something that I could do? It didn't take long, paying attention to the process, to notice that when Ron would suggest that Sam, the patient, was ready for a pass, he would bring it up by saying, "I'm wondering if Sam is ready for a pass." This was Ron speak for, "I think Sam needs to go out on a pass. What do people think about it?" The way that I would put it was, "I think Sam's ready for a pass." And in some ways, this would limit the discussion. For somebody that was bashful about their opinions, they might not want to raise their voice against the smart young doctor because maybe he would not be nice in the way that he responded to their suggestion. But when Ron would wonder about Sam being ready for a pass, this was an open question that invited their opinion. Well, in fact, I don't think Sam is ready for a pass. He hasn't been going to groups in the last 2 weeks. Mental health therapist was empowered to give their 2 cents worth, and it was important information for the team to be aware of. So wondering is this invitation that we give ourselves, the bashful parts of ourselves, to come forward, not worry about being labeled right or wrong. It's just wondering, after all. There's 2 collections of videos, maybe sections or channels. I'm still figuring this out. One channel is on awareness training. Awareness is this thing that we take for granted. Everything that we've ever experienced, every precious moment, every painful one, all happens in this thing we call awareness. It's the screen on which our lives are projected. It's the book on which our stories are written. But by and large, we take it for granted, except in particular moments of heightened awareness, maybe a beautiful sunset, or maybe hearing that a loved one has cancer. And suddenly we are aware of awareness and how precious it is and how brief it is. We can go about training our awareness, noticing that our thoughts that are roving about, happening automatically, our feelings that are in states of roller coaster mode, going up and down and sideways. That with practice, like a mud puddle that has been stirred, but with time, the sediments fall to the bottom and there's a clarity. We can learn how to let some of these things settle and find some clarity in our awareness. Sometimes it's the clarity of realizing that we are in the eye of a hurricane and that disaster is all around us, yet still finding this place of relative calm. Awareness training allows us to learn how to let things be the way they are. And since things are going to be the way they are, it's good to learn how to find acceptance of this. The other collection of videos is called Wonderings, and it's looking at some of the various tools, pathways of recovery that have particularly struck me in my own recovery process and have been particularly helpful to me in explaining these to some of you. There is a way of broadening our awareness with facts, tools, wonderings about whether or not the world is this way for us versus another way for us. They can help us in this process of making our way forward. As I enter retirement, I think it's going to be important for me to continue to bring a certain amount of time and energy to these places of connection inside myself with processes of recovery and maybe connections with some of you that might find some of these musings helpful. I'm wondering if they might be. Thanks for joining me here.